Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting deeper and deeper into this bracket for week number 4 of the ANZ Pro Series, and we have had some insane storylines come to an end so far. We've even had some insane ones just beginning here in ANZ as well, and I'm super excited the fact that we are getting into this series here. BBR versus Divine Mind in an elimination series nonetheless, Hoots. One of these two teams is not making it in the top 4, and one of these two teams gets to progress further and have a little bit more form going into the Super.
Yeah, you know, it's two teams we're familiar with. We've seen them a lot on stream. As we said before, BBR rocking that brand new logo, which we love. But yeah, you know, who knows? Neither thought they would be down here, as you said. And we've just seen some crazy Halo in the last couple of series already, especially that last series with Demons getting that fantastic win. So, yeah, more Halo, please.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see what these guys can do, and I'm super excited to see what this BBR roster can do. Specifically, somebody like Jukkor. He's been such an standout performance so far in ANZ Pro Series. I'm excited to see what he can do, and we're actually able to catch up with Jukkor before Pro Series number 4. So let's see what he had to say.
Cherry on the cake for Jukkor, he has this night now. Oh, come on, Jukkor! What are you doing? What are you doing, Jukkor? Oh, come on, buddy!
My alias is Jukkor, and my full name is Jace Monroe, and I've been competing since 2008, so a little over, I think, 13 years. I started playing Halo when I made friends with some kids on the street when I was about 10 years old, and I only had a PS2 at the time, but one of them had an Xbox. We used to go over to their house and play like all day long. The moment I picked up an Xbox controller and we played against each other on like Halo C and Halo 2, I just like knew Halo was the game for me. I first got into competitive early in 2008, I believe. I was playing Halo 3 on the Xbox 360, and I remember grinding the MLG playlist like every single day, and I liked the competitive feel that the game gave off. So I remember going to Google and typing in like Australian competitive Halo and found a website called Oz Halo. And I made an account up there, and I just started like talking to people on the forums, trying to get involved. And from there, I just like joined a team and I started competing, and never looked back since then. My favorite competitive moment was when I think I was like 13 or 14. I was like playing in the ACL Halo Reach online round 3 competition. My team was New Era, and we went down to losers bracket. I think we got second rounded. We went down to losers bracket, and this was like when there was like 38 or 40 teams competing. And we made this huge run through losers and basically had to take down like the powerhouses of the region at the time. We took down like Mindfreak and Vox Eminor, and in the finals we had to beat Team Sidewinder in like 2 best-of-7s, and we managed to do it. And me being really young at the time, I couldn't stop yelling in excitement at the time because I was ecstatic. I was like, oh my god, we just went through this giant loser bracket one and we won the tournament. And I ended up like waking my parents up and I got scolded for it, but it was awesome. It was so worth it. I try to be the guiding voice in game. I try to get everybody on track with our game plan. If it ever looks like we're playing a bit too frantic, you know, I make sure before every game that we know what we're trying to do and get everybody on the same page. I'll always be looking over our scrim VODs and pointing out where we're going wrong, or looking at pro player scrims and pointing out plays they do, which we should imitate. I just try to be like as supportive as I can with the team outside of just playing scrims, and try to like bring a lot of game theory to what we're already applying to our game. Personally, I don't have like some like huge goal or anything. I just want to have fun and get better at the game. Maybe establish our squad as one of the most dominant teams in the region. You know, I really just want to learn how to play the game correctly and just get better.
Just seems like Jukkor is here to party, and he's here to frag out as well. He's been performing so well in the Pro Series, and I'm just excited to see what he can do, especially with, it seems like, a very cool head that he's got on his shoulders here, Justin. But he's going up against a team today in the Divine Minds, who have been a team so far in ANZ that have certainly been able to stamp themselves as a top 2 squad.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to highlight my boy Ali here, Berserk. He's a passionate firecracker. And you know what? He probably hasn't had the start to this year that he was hoping for, you know, leading up to Infinite. Throughout the end of Halo 5, I talked to him quite a bit about where his mental state was and, you know, what his plans were for the new game that came out. And he's a motivated person, and you've got to watch out for him. He's out for blood and motivated. And a few roster changes are starting to set him back a little bit, so I'd like to see him and his squad cement themselves a little bit because they can challenge Chiefs. They've got all the same level of talent, and they've just got to put it together in games. So watch out for Berserk because he's angry from what I've heard. He's ready to go.
Yeah, it seems like these guys are ready to get into it, and the fact that he has been a part of every single Divine Mind roster here goes to show that he is kind of the lifeblood of that roster. Let's jump into these maps and see where we're going to be going for this series. It's interesting to see what kind of game modes we're going to have in front of us. We are going to have a Stronghold here on Livefire. We're going to have Slayer on Recharge, and then we're going to end it up on Bazaar CTF. So it seems like a little bit of the ugly duckling at the end of this series here for us Hoots. A lot of people are Bazaar haters. I'm in fact a Bazaar lover, but you know, maybe we might get to a point where this could be a 2-0 because I've seen both these teams so far perform extremely well on both these maps.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, the Bazaar CTF, yeah, you're right. It's a game type that you either love it or you do hate it. Personally, I really enjoy it. So I do hope we get to see that game 3. But yeah, Stronghold's Livefire, we haven't seen that so far tonight. And yeah, that's one that we said before in terms of Strongholds. We just love the amount of rotations and movement that we see teams having to do to be able to secure that win. And, you know, if that immunity matchup that we had at the start of the night is anything to go by, they can really turn on a dime as well. You're never really out, even if you are down by a pretty big deficit.
And I think the big thing for us to look at this live fire, right, Justin, is there's a sniper in the middle of the map, baby. And we've seen some frag clips coming in from Jukkor, seen it from Benji as well. The lads on Divine Mind can do insane stuff. Beaston has been one of those players that really pops off on this map. So I think this is going to be a pretty big contention point for both these teams. Not only is it going to be the control points, but it's also going to be about these power weapons. So ladies and gentlemen, we see we're about to load in here onto live fire. So let's jump into this elimination series. BBR and Divine Mind. Who's going forward? Let's find out.
Yeah, and we're launching straight into it. And you know what? You are talking about that sniper rifle. And there's so much star power on both of these squads. So looking to see some crazy clips. And tonight's been pretty insane, hasn't it, Hoots, so far? But now we're getting to the pointy end. There is a lot of montage potential talent on both of these squads. So I'm getting excited to see what they've got cooking for us.
Yeah, if we're talking montage material, it's in particular probably Jukkor, the human highlight reel. And we've already spoken about him before. But the stuff we saw him do last week with that sniper rifle was just out of this world in terms of some of the no-scopes we were getting, and we had the boys Hoggy and Bluey really amping him up as well, which we love. So we're looking forward to seeing how he goes with that, but we are just loading in right now to this game. But he's definitely going to be the one to watch for me, Justin. But in terms of on the Divine Mind squad, is it Berserk for you to be the one who we're looking at?
Oh, look, I'm a Berserk stan, have been for a really long time. So, you know, I may be a little bit biased about my Turkish friend there. But the thing is that Divine Mind, they've got what it takes, and the roster's had a few shuffles and they've had a few false starts. And, you know, last series was pretty disappointing with having to get DQ'd because of connection issues and server issues. So they're probably even more hungry to get started and get these games going.
Yeah, they certainly are, and the Australian internet is really kicking in right now, just making sure everyone can connect in here and get loaded. You know, we've got the NBN's trying to do its best and it's chugging along, but you know, it's keeping us at least logged into the stream here, Justin, which is more than what we can ask for. But you know, we do have these issues every now and then for those who are tuning in who might be from overseas. It's an issue that our country's been plagued with for a long time, and finally we are jumping on board with Brattles for BBR as we
does look like we have a drop
we
out,
might
though.
have had a drop though. So that might be an observer glitch, but I think we're actually going to move to a tie here as we see just players launching themselves up in the air for no reason. So we had a DC there, unfortunately, so we will look to get that back started again. But Justin, this is what we have to deal with sometimes when we're running online events. We're at the mercy of the NBN gods, and sometimes they just don't want to play nice. And we've all dealt with it, whether it's at work or school or personal time. I mean, there's nothing worse than when you're playing like a battle royale game or something like that, and you
get
to those
30
final
minutes
two
in.
squads, and you've just been sitting in a corner or in a bathroom the whole time, just waiting.
Oh,
closing in on you.
You're a dirty bathroom camper, aren't you? You just hide their final circle, bro.
Yeah, I may have just
pop those
lifted the lid on my
UAVs
strap.
and go hunting, mate. Like, you just go after them.
I'm not talking about that particular game. I'm talking about the real BRs. Like, yeah. Anyway, we don't need to talk about those ones. But yeah, you know, there's nothing more frustrating, and we do have to deal with these things every now and then. We're at the mercy of online, and so you know, it just makes me want to get to that LAN environment more and more. I've spoken about it a few times tonight, but just get to a LAN environment. We've got the team chat going. We've got the connection issues out of the way. And, you know, that major we're going to have in September, I think it is just going to be absolutely huge. I don't think we'll ever have seen anything like it here in Australian Halo.
I am so excited for the major in September. It's just going to be so massive, and a lot of the ANZ Halo community has been waiting for a big event like this in the Halo scene, and maybe a bit jealous of the other esports titles that have had giant events like that. So yeah, I can't wait for it. And even up to the lead to it at the end of Halo 5, and it's like, I hope, you know, when Infinite comes, that the 343 and all the partners go hard and, you know, give us some really good events to play for. And, you know, they've delivered big time. So September, yeah, I can't wait for it. And at least if there's technical issues at LAN, at least you can, you know, stare down your enemy players there and just, you know, give them the eyes and break down their mentals as you're waiting for the networking issues to be sorted out.
I think we're going to get Luke back in potentially just to help us out. Luke,
bring me in.
What's going on?
I don't know. I'm just kind of vibing out, you know, waiting to see some sick Halo between these guys. And unfortunately, it looks like this time around it was Berserk that wasn't able to connect to the server that time around. So we said he was raring to go, but unfortunately, you know, the Halo
too fast for his internet.
It's too fast. So sometimes you just break through the internet barrier and you just start to break things apart. So unfortunately for Mr. Berserk, I have to wait for him to get back in the server. So this is where we get to kind of spin some more yarns, lads. During this series, I was going to start preparing a bit of Halo trivia for you guys, because obviously Halo trivia in ANZ the crown has been taken by Mr. Barcode. And I was just seeing if, you know, maybe we can have a little bit of a trivia power rankings with all the casters here on the desk as well, and see where you guys land. Might not be lore related, so, you know, maybe you guys might be able to get something out of this, but unfortunately I don't have any questions for you guys.
Thanks for the lead up.
I was just debating. I mean,
I do a bit of,
all right, I'll ask a question right now. All right, Justin and Hoots, you guys can use your names as buzzers.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do it like that. First question. How many bullets does the Mangler have?
Hoots. 5? 5?
Justin?
SJ4. Too many is the answer. What do I win? Where's my bonus?
You get this, I guess. You can have my notebook.
Your notebook?
I don't know if it's got anything important in it, but you can have it anyways.
A love letter to me, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. It's all the way at the back. But I believe it's actually 6. I don't know the answer, so I was kind of just hoping that you guys would get the answer correct.
You could have just said, Hoots, you're correct.
Well, I mean, I just wanted to see if you were going to give me something else, Justin. You gave me something better. So, you know, that's all the important part that we needed right now. But it looks like, ladies and gentlemen, we have been saved by our production gods, and we are getting ourselves into this. And it means now we actually get to have some Halo on our screen. So everybody cross your fingers, hands up in chat. Let's see if we can get ourselves some Halo on our screens. But lads, let's jump into it.
Yeah, listen. Sorry, Hoots, cutting you off there.
Go for it, mate.
We should have discussed it beforehand. Fingers crossed that you know, the floppy disks are entering the servers right now, so these two teams can communicate with each other. And you know what? Keep talking about it. Berserk, he's got to be hungry, and they're all in. Here we go. On board with Brattles, one of my personal favorite players to watch. Just good Halo from him, putting some shots across map. Does back off after his shields start flashing. And both teams just pretty casual start so far. 2 players drop on BBR, and Brattle's doing really well to value his life, picking up a kill on flex range, and then instantly starts rotating across the maps here, Hoots.
Yeah, we do have Divine Mind getting the first double cap, so they're going to start scoring. They actually are moving for a triple cap on this A site now. They have run into a bit of problems, although they are starting to cap it again now. So an early triple cap off the break for Divine Mind. We have BBR spawning down in the brute field, it looks like. Ad's pushing up through the shortcut, but he's going to be caught pretty unawares. Manages to grab that snipe there. So BBR with the snipe in hand. Brattle's just hanging up in this nest. I'm really liking the move here over to the cover there, providing a bit of help for his teammates. But that is 4 down for BBR. Snipe is now out of the hands and in the hands of Beaston. So Beaston, one of the players who we've seen make the transition over from COD initially a couple of weeks ago, really making a name for himself now and cementing himself on a pretty established squad here with Divine Mind. And a fantastic no-scope on Ads. Ads, don't peek, don't go up the ramp. You're going to get dropped straight away. So Beaston just, you know, no scopes in COD were always a big thing back in the day in terms of trick shots, but Wow, he's transitioned that perfectly across to Halo as well, Justin.
Yeah, and you can see his reticle placement is spot on too. It's putting it at the angles and letting the players come to him and just making those micro adjustments. That no-scope was just so effortless. He does fall down eventually though. Now on board with Rated with that beautiful phase skin. And Divine Mind, they're off to a nice, healthy lead straight up. 75 points with 2 strongholds, putting points onto the board. Nice little cleanup there. And Divine Mind, they seem to be pretty comfortable and able to move around the map. Hoots, and Rated, he hasn't been shot at the entire time we've been watching him.
Yeah, they're just sort of having their way with BBR right now. BBR are finally starting to score, but look at that as they're capturing that B site. We've got Blues coming in for A and C side for Divine Mind. Great work there from Rated to secure that OS. Dropping ads there, I think it was, and so he's going to be able to run around now pretty freely. He's got that Mangler in his back pocket as he's pushing towards B. Nades coming out onto that nest to provide a bit of cover and ends up, I think, connecting there, or maybe at least getting the assist. So,
the team nade.
Was it a team nade?
Yeah,
terrible. So Rated still, though, he's making up for it. He's out BRing. His OS is out now, but he's done a great job here helping secure this B site for his team, and their score is going to keep cracking up. Their nice double kill coming out. We are seeing Flex, Reigns, and Berserk, I think it is, hanging around the nest, so they're going to be in a position to keep that C site locked down as well. So B and C here locked in pretty well, and great work there, Rated, just hanging out down in the backs. That's a double. He's going to go for the triple on Brattles. Can't get it. The grenade explodes, but that's a great effort there to keep BBR at bay, stop them from pushing over, and their score's just going to keep racking up, Justin.
Yeah, and Rated, his pacing, has been so good. He got that OS and he instantly went on the aggression, but then when his teammates fell and he didn't really have any backup, he just waited in the corner and gets an easy back whack and a double kill for his effort. He just was so patient, and he's able to flip those rolls instantly. So good stuff from him, and it's translating really well into a Divine Mind lead. But I'm saying that BBR are starting to put some points on the board a little bit slowly, and now on board with Brattles. Look at that patience as he was waiting for those angles, and Benji with that sniper rifle again. Will he be able to take out Beast and the other player from Call of Duty? And he's giving him the respect. He's checking those angles, but the challenge isn't coming through. Benji in a lot of trouble right now. Hits the body.
Nice.
Follows it up. Flex Reigns gets shut down. Oh, does look like he was pretty close to connecting on that double kill there. Look at the composure from Benji. He was under so much pressure there, Hoots, and it didn't matter. He was cool, calm, collected, and he took out a player that was coming in for the cleanup.
Yeah, it was 3 down for Divine Mind there for a bit, and you do see BBR then convert that into that double cap now, so they are going to start to score. Jucker's probably been the one who we've seen be a bit slow so far. He's only got the 2 kills, 9 deaths as well, but Benji using this sniper really well, hanging out in this nest here, putting some good cover fire down, and he's going to look to probably move in and start to secure this C cap, so they will start to score again. So he needs to reset that. He doesn't want to jump in though, he's just leaving it sitting there, so that's all right. He can hang back with this sniper rifle here, putting shots across there. Rated gets dropped with a nice cleanup with the BR, and we do have now though Divine Mind starting to score. They've capped this B and A site again, so the B site was left a bit by BBR, and Divine Mind were able to come in and capture that pretty freely, Justin. So a bit of a lapse in concentration there, I think, from BBR.
Yeah, a little bit. And Divine Minds, they've got a good lead at the moment. It is fragile. Still could go either way. Beeson just turning around, responding to that call out. Easy cleanup for him. Just a little burst on the Brattles. And I like his positioning here. He's waiting for his teammates to rotate through. And BBR, they're just posted up in the tower around C. And all players are up right now. Got to get some picks and move through. As I say, that Jacko drops down, Rated there. Lots of kills in the kill feed. It's starting to heat up. Beaston, so patient. He hasn't taken any damage so far, trying to get those cleanups, and he's getting C for pretty free right now, Hoots.
Triple, yeah, looks like a triple cap on the cards now, though BBR do come in and just manage to spoil that party with A and B now both being capped by BBR, actually. So maybe a bit of an overextension by Divine Mind here, all starting to push for that triple cap, and in the blink of an eye, BBR actually flip it and they're able to get a double of their own. We do, as I said before, Jucker looks like he's having a bit of a rough trot at it so far. He hasn't really been able to get the slays on the board, but it's kind of hard when you've got someone like Rated for Divine Mind going off with 15 kills, 6 assists, and 7 deaths. So we are on with Brattles now. He's trying to make a push through that top mid area. Unfortunately, not able to. That sniper is going to be popping relatively soon, though. So Rated thought he was probably going to make a move for that, but he's not. Instead, it looks like the OS is going to be their focus. So grabbing that OS should be able to help them maintain some more and potentially go for a triple cap, because they do have all 3 captured right now, although C is being contested by BBR. So if they can reset that C, they're going to be able to get a triple cap, and this score's already getting pretty out of hand right now, Justin. They've only got about 35 seconds left.
Yeah, and it does look like Divine Mind is going to take this one away. And Raider just went into C and basically just cleared it out all on his own. He had the OS and he's sniffing out the players. Jacko a little bit unawares of where Rated is. A nice little back whack onto him, and Rated already switching gears, responding to other players. Mads is a little bit in trouble there, and he's rotating away, desperately trying to save himself there. But Rated comes in with the cleanup, but the help does arrive in time to get that trade out. Now Flex range with that sniper rifle, Hoots.
Yeah, this could be pretty much the end for BBR. It looks like if Flex Range is able to get a few picks here, but we do have right now no team really... BBR actually is putting a bit of score on the board, or was momentarily, as they're resetting these flags. So all these zones are in a bit of a stalemate right now, as Divine Mind is looking to push in on this B side, although meeting a bit of defense here from BBR, just keeping them away at Nest. So that's good work. It's what they had to do. BBR managed to maintain that A and B and keep scoring, but there isn't much time left. We've spoken about that buffer zone in some of these early series, Justin, and BBR really don't have many mistakes to play with right now. They have to play this pretty perfectly if they're going to maintain much control, because all Divine Mind need is a couple of seconds of majority control, and this one's pretty much over.
Yeah, Divine Mind's in a very comfortable position right now, and BBR, some points are getting on the board, but Divine Mind, they've got such a buffer. Like 100 points difference right now. They just need to play patiently, get their picks, and they'll have this one in the bag. Look at this, Jacko trying to get things going, and Divine Minds with that triple cap, and points are just going to start flowing in like a tidal wave, and Divine Mind will take map number 1.
Yeah, that was a pretty dominant performance there from Divine Mind, both in terms of slay and objective play, and it just looked like BBR had, Benji and Jacko weren't really able to maintain or establish any kind of dominance that we're typically used to seeing them do. We did speak about them earlier and probably gassed them up maybe a little bit too much at the start, but that's all right. They've got another game to come back from, and we have seen some of these series where certain players have performed quite poorly in the first game, be able to flip it in the second game. Prime example was Lolly, I think it was, in that series we just had before.
Yeah, and you know what? You can never count out these teams. I mean, BBR, they're down, but they're not out just yet, and they've been performing pretty well. And you know what? Jacko, we saw the player highlight from him. He's hungry, and that's what you want. You want hungry players that want to get better, and they want to improve, and that helps light a fire underneath the bellies of some of the old guard like Brattles and Ads. You get some of that young blood in there to reignite that competitive flame. So BBR not out just yet, but Divine Minds, they've got something to prove. Like there's maybe a little bit of a chip on their shoulder about keep losing to Chiefs, and Chiefs getting all this recognition. So maybe Divine Mind, they're just out for blood. They're like, boys, we've got to get this series over so we can put Chief into their place.
I love that no-scope from Beast and on Ads there. He really set the tempo early, I think, for Divine Mind with that snipe up on top tower. But yeah, as we said, there's plenty of time to turn this around, although, I think across the board, really, they just did seem to be quite disorganized, BBR then. And so, we did see a really great performance from them last week in the Pro Series 3. But things can change quickly, and this is a bit of a different tournament. As we've said, the lineups have changed quite a bit from a lot of teams. So, cohesion can change amongst other teams and things can turn around. But they'd be disappointed by that, I think. And I did actually see on Twitter earlier before we kicked off today, Jacko was saying that he was feeling quite ill. I think he'd actually been throwing up before the series was starting. So potentially we're dealing with a few physical illnesses as well, Justin.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate, and it is a disadvantage. But thing is, it doesn't matter. Like, you've got to turn up and play to your absolute best of your ability, and someone's always going to have something. There's always going to be something going on in your lives, and when it's game time, you just got to do your best. And physical illness is rough. I know that I struggle. If I have anything going on with my gut, I'm a miserable wreck. So I probably would have just dropped out. So if he's even turning up to play after being thrown up today, then that's pretty impressive in my books. But thing is that once that countdown timer goes and the map started, there's no excuses. You got to perform, and if you're losing maps because you're feeling unwell, then that's okay. But at the end of the day, you got to win maps to progress through the bracket.
I think this is where Ads and Brattle's experience really comes in as well, though. You know, Jucko spoke about last week how they're so vital in terms of getting the team back on track and really arranging them and sort of the in-game leaders, I guess, for these tournaments. So, you know, Ads and Brattles have been in this situation before where they have been down and, you know, beaten comprehensively in some games, but have been able to turn it around. So that's really where you need them to step up and get Jucko and Benji's minds back in the game. And so I'm sure they're capable of doing that. They've been around for so long, but, you know, it's a time now where it's do or die for them. If they don't win this game, they're out. We're obviously playing in a best of 3 as we move on to Slayer Recharge. But, you know, things can change quickly.
Yeah, and you just take it a game at a time, right? Like, you go, as you say, Ads and Brattles, just get in Jucko's ear and be like, mate, we've got this Slayer game. We're just going to smash it out of the park. You're gonna get so many kills and all that kind of stuff. You amp them up, and you've just got to get through that 10 minutes or so and get the game over with. And sometimes that's enough. You get that hype, you get that adrenaline going, a little bit of a dopamine hit when you hit a nice little double kill or something like that, and that amps you up for the rest of the game. And that's what we're going to aim to see. And unfortunately, we are getting some more technical issues, so we'll get that sorted out as quickly as possible. But we'll just talk about this next game. And, you know, BBR, not out just yet, but Divine Minds, as I say, I reckon they're out for blood. I think they've got their eyes on Grand Final already, and they just want to get this over and done with.
Yeah, they're a team who, in the initial couple of tournaments that we were running towards the end of last year, their name was popping up right near the top. And I think in recent weeks, we've probably seen them down a little. A similar thing goes for BBR as well. You know, that they've performed relatively well in some series. Last week, a prime example, but other series just not doing too well at all. So it's, you know, they're two teams who we can't really get a great read on just yet, and both have had some roster changes and things like that. So they're clearly trying to get used to those kinds of things. But you know, it's a difficult one with these teams because we are used to seeing them being up in that topper echelon of teams. So, you know, changing the guard is something we've spoken about quite a bit over the last few weeks, as well as these new teams are starting to come in. But you know, Demons obviously are a team similar to that ilk, where we've seen them sort of being a bit inconsistent in that bottom rung of the top 8 or a little bit outside, but they stick together long enough and they can turn it around. And, you know, hopefully BBR and Divine Mind can both do that. But we are back into the games now. We've got the lobby issues fixed. We're jumping on board with Brattles. Slayer on recharge, putting some nice shots on Berserk. Cross map here. The grenade should clean him up with the assist there. Very nice. And Beaston, he was able to pick up that camo, I think it was, Justin, and straight away he's up top mid challenging, doing some good work, exactly what that camo's been useful for. And now he's able to push around a little bit undetected, looking to move in here on Benji with the main clone. Does just that, picks up the assist. And so a very strong start here for Divine Mind. And that camo is so crucial, Justin, at the start to try and get some kind of map control.
Yeah, and usually it takes a few slays to get in there, but Beeson, he just scooped it straight up out of the rip. And Berserk now with that shock rifle, trying to help out his teammates here. And picks himself up one already and going for the instant reload on that. Player below him, misses 2 shots, misses the doesn't quite get the third off, but unfortunate for Berserk losing that power weapon there, only able to get himself the 1 kill. But they're still 3 kills up at the Mona Hoots. Very early days. Yeah,
very early days. Beaston here just hanging on these stairs, you know, doing well to stay alive here. He has got a fair few BBR players pushing in on him. It's actually 2, so nice bait and switch there. That's vintage Halo with the bait and switch, and FlexRain's able to just push straight in there on, I think it was Benji. Benji completely unaware of him with that sword. He was running right at him. Maybe Benji needs to turn that field of view up a little bit and catch him in his sights there, because I thought he would have been very easy to spot sprinting at him with that giant blue sword. But we are on with Rated now, taking a bit of the pace out of it, hanging around the pipes here. The pings are coming in for Elevator, so I think he thought he maybe saw a camo player. Camo's not up yet, I don't think, though, so Adzi is going to be dropped, and that's a very nice double there from Rated. Great shot selection there. Moving on to Jucko, but backing down very smart, not wanting to give any free kills away in this Slayer. They are ahead by 3, so it's been a solid start for them, but we are seeing the ping starting to come through again in pointing to the top gold, but there was that player there, Brattles, just hanging down below, and Divine Mind really seem to have it going on here. Their comms are on point, they're putting in shots really well, and they're just sort of rolling around and picking Divine Mind off where they can, and often we're seeing, Justin, you know, the BBR guys have taken a shot or 2 already before they're being hit.
Yeah, and watching Rated here, he's just doing so well and not getting overzealous like before. He got that double kill, and the triple kill was there if he wanted it. Yeah. But he put his burst in and went, you know what, I'm at a shot disadvantage. I'm just going to back off and rotate. And he was able to string together another couple of kills. So Rated, he's just improved so much over the last few Open and Pro series. And good to see from him. And we have ads with that camo, him falling. That was key to get BBR back in this. It's only 7 kill deficit right now, but when you're already down one map in the series, you can't really afford to let that lead bloat out this much this early, Hoots.
Yeah, exactly. 7 kills is a pretty big gap to begin with, as we are seeing BBR team looking to hang around the top gold here, pretty spread, as well as having some players in A. So Berserk was able to manage to get through there and head down to batteries. He's dropped, so he was quite separated from the rest of his team there. I'm not sure what the point of that push there was from Berserk, but Beaston now hanging down below, and we are seeing the Divine Mind squad start to push in on that A area, getting a few picks there. Beaston running around and starting to turn around straight away, but nice work there by Brattles, managing to drop rated. Unfortunately, that's a trade there again. So Divine Mind pulling this lead out a little bit further. Nice double coming from Benji, as we are seeing the team set up here around this A generator area. But yeah, it just seems like met with a grenade straight away. So Justin, I mean, we obviously can't hear the team comms right now, but it looks like they must be really on point for Divine Mind. Some of these kills are coming very easily for them.
Yeah, comms are on point, and he saw flex range before. He was pinging things left and right, and the information that those pings can give you is just so advantageous. Like, we need to see more pings from all of these players, because it's free information. You don't have to clog up your communication lines calling players out. You can just get a ping down, and it's like, you know, you ping a power weapon that's spawned up, and instantly you go, okay, well, we need to go over that area, or there's a weak player or something like that, or your communication doesn't need to be pinpointed. You have to say, oh, he's hiding in, you know, tower 2 in the corner. You just ping in that area and then know where it is. So good to see that their communication is on point. And Beeson able to scoop together a camo, but he does have that Batarang on his utility belt, ready to launch himself around the map. Mad's got a little bit in trouble there, but look, Beeston, he got shot in the back and managed just to slink away though there.
Yeah, Beeston's just had full control of his camo, and is just, as we saw then, just able to hang around top mid without even getting hit at all around the batteries and everything. Moving into Hydro now, bottom Hydro with this grapple hook. He's using it to get around the map really well, and look, this is getting pretty ugly now. 11-12 kill lead now for Divine Mind. BBR really need to do something quick, but Beaston's just got all the right angles, and even that's going to be a trade there, but you'll take that every day of the week. He's positioning himself so well that you see the BBR players running straight past him then, but you know, communication with this team, knowing what angles each other are taking, and you see there the assist coming through. Yeah, it's all sort of going to plan for Divine Mind right now. And it just looks like, you know, Benji's trying his best to keep BBR in it, but unfortunately the slays just aren't really coming through from the rest of his team.
No, and Divine Mind, they're just doing their thing right now. Berserk with a nice, tasty little headshot there, picking himself up another. Plenty of ammo in that shock rifle too, to extend out that scoreline. But you can see that Benji just chilling out behind them. Oh, easy double kill from him. Triple kills there, but no, Benji pounced at just the right time to shut down Berserk. They needed to shut him down right away, because when you have a player like Berserk who's getting hot with that shock rifle, you can't let him keep going.
No, not at all. And we are seeing Benji now get dropped, and we're not in the position where we can really be affording any trades for BBR. 3 down for Divine Mind, 4 for almost a split second there. So BBR are manning some kind of a comeback. It's about a 9-kill gap now, so they have brought it back by about 2 or 3 from when we last spoke about it. This camo, you know, this is probably going to be their last real attempt at being able to get back into this game, though, if they can secure this camo. Rated says no thank you. Manages to get picked up, I think, or stolen at least by his teammate there in Beaston, I think it was, who's got the camo again, and he's dropped. So that camo, oh no, I think it's actually still down there. So Juckor is just sitting right next to it. He's still alive on that box, just playing his life. He's dropped. So this camo now just sitting there, playing in plain sight. But, you know, I think it's looking like it's too late for BBR at this point. Camo now in the hands of Rated. 3 kills needed for Divine Mind, 10 for BBR. So with this camo in the hands of Rated, he's going to be able to push into this A area where we can see some of the BBR guys getting stuck up. And Brattles is going to start to make a push as well, but he'll be not able to finish that off on Rated. But with only 3 kills to go, Justin, I think this one's almost in the books unless we see some kind of crazy comeback like we saw Demons have last game.
Yeah, and it's very dangerous. Only 1 more kill to go. Oh, Benji just narrowly getting away there, Hootson. But here comes Rated with that camo. Should get the cleanup. That's 50 kills on the board. 50 to 41. Respectable, but still, Divine Minds, they looked like they were in control that entire time and very comfortable. So the game was relatively close, but it was all Divine Mind.
Yeah, it certainly did feel like that this was kind of Divine Minds from the outset, right, lads? And You know, it got to a point where, you know, maybe this might not be the day here for BBR because, you know, it really did feel like, that, you know, from previous form, these guys should put up a little bit more of a fight against the Divine Mind lads. But right now, this is the way that the cookie crumbles, right? And this is, you know, the kind of downside of a lot of these tournaments is you have to perform on the day, and if you aren't hitting everything that you need to, if you're not at 100%, you go up against these big teams in important series like this one, Hoots, and this is where you really start to falter. And unfortunately now for BBR, they haven't been able to secure themselves a back-to-back top 4. And we're looking at Divine Minds to start getting themselves closer and closer to a grand final. And they're looking clean. They're looking good. Obviously, dropping down in the elimination bracket was a little bit of a blip on the radar for them, but I think they're certainly going to be able to be consistent enough to get themselves back into that grand final.
Yeah, and keep in mind, we've had Flex Reigns with filling in on Chiefs roster for a few times in the last couple of weeks. So, you know, that kind of experience he's got from the Chiefs to bring it back over to Divine Mind, I'm sure that's really valuable for them as well. Jacko definitely redeemed himself in that game. I thought he played really well. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. You know, it's not the way the cookie crumbles all the time. But I think, Justin, you summed it up pretty well. It was a respectable margin in the end. It was getting pretty out of hand with Divine Mind at the very start, just putting a massive gap between themselves and BBR, and they were able to peg it back a little bit, but unfortunately it was just too little too late.
Yeah, a little bit. And we're talking about Jacko not feeling well, throwing up, but he threw up pretty big numbers in that last game.
Oh, well done.
Yeah, I mean, I like that. I like the small little
slow claps in the chat.
Yeah, all right. We'll give you that one, Justin, all right? We'll sit there and we'll watch that Combat Evolved coming in from Flex as well when we're looking through that. But as I said, you know, it really did feel like that Divine Minds are getting themselves in a pretty consistent spot, and I think this is exactly what we're expecting from these guys. Yes, the way that the seeding did work out, they had to play the Chiefs a lot earlier than what they usually do in a lot of these Pro Series, but they're here to play in this elimination bracket, and I think they're going to be a big terror for the rest of these teams as we start to go through it, because we've still got some pretty big names that are going through in this elimination bracket, lads, but the way that Divine Mind are playing today, I think they look really, really clean. And the biggest thing for me, Hoots, is as you guys were saying in the cast, right, it just seems like their communications were so on point. It felt like every single time that there was ever going to be shots on a player, it was from 2 or 3 members of the Divine Mind lads, and it was almost instantaneous, and it felt like a lot of those kills were coming through. Yeah,
I mean, there were points where one of the Divine Mind players was looking at an enemy and they were full shields. They put like 1.5 shots in them and they were all of a sudden dropped and they were getting the assist. So you just knew shots were coming in from all different angles on the one player. So yeah, using the ping system, which we don't really see teams use that often in Infinite yet. It's something that is obviously prevalent in a lot of other games that are used. But yeah, it's maybe something that teams should consider using, because whilst you can have that audio communication, if you've got a visual marker of, hey, this is the exact spot I'm talking about, that can add another dimension to the comp. So yeah, interesting to see if more teams start to deploy that.
Also, because you can get yourself a shot caller medal as well, so at the end of the day,
that's the
you
reason
can always...
I do.
Yeah, exactly. It's the easiest way to do it. You just jump around a corner, you ping somebody, bam, easy shot call. That's how you get those extra points, so I'm not bottom fragging every single time I'm playing with my mates. So that's an easy way to get it done, but I think that's a good thing to talk about, right, Justin, is as we start getting deeper and deeper into Halo Infinite, when these guys have more competitive time underneath their belts, we're going to start getting into more of those micro mechanics, right? Like, a lot of the time when we'll come in, a lot of these tournaments, we're talking about the macro, about how these teams want to play around each other, how these teams want to play these maps, and now we're starting to get into the very micro mechanics of how Halo Infinite is being played. Talking about things like jumping mechanics, slide mechanics, ping mechanics, all that kind of stuff. And once these players start getting automated with everything else, that's when we really start to see these micro mechanic machines start to flourish.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, it will go on for years. People will be finding jumps and little things that they can use to their advantage all the way to the very tail end of Halo 5. You would see a clip from like Shyway or something like that on Twitter trending, and it would be some weird jump that he's cooked up, and be like, mate, we've been playing this game for like 5 years and we had no idea that this was possible. That would have been so useful a couple of worlds ago. So yeah, as you say, those micro mechanics are going to start panning out, and you'll see it a lot in the starting strats. I even think I saw Brattles off the rip on that recharge game. Yeah, he had that figured out exactly. It's like slide down the ramp and put him in a perfect spot to challenge that player coming out the garage doors there. So we are going to see more and more of that as Infinite matures going on.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what these players can hook up in the labs and see which one of these players is really going to start to come out as these mechanic fiends. But lads, it's time for our winners interview here. We do have Flex Reigns on the line, so let's bring him in. Let's have a yarn to him here from Divine Mind. So Flex, Good job on the series victory here. You made it look pretty convincing against the BBR lads, being able to blow them out here in the elimination bracket. Obviously, playing the Chiefs a little bit earlier on in the bracket is not ideal for you guys. So how does it feel coming into this elimination bracket, knowing that every single one of these series you have to perform 100% so you don't get knocked out early on?
Yeah, look, obviously there's a lot of pressure being in the lower bracket. You know, you can't skip a beat. You always have to perform. But we've always been here. Like Divine Mind's always been trying their best, you know, regardless if it's the winners bracket or the losers bracket. So it's not unfamiliar territory. So we know how to clutch up and get to the grand finals as usual.
Flex, with all the team changes that have been going on, how have you found in terms of scrims during the week that they've been going? Like, are you finding that you're actually able to get, you know, legitimate takeaways from each scrim you're doing? Or is it more a case of these teams keep changing and can we really look into these results too much?
Yeah, look, that's a great question. I mean, obviously the team changes make things a lot difficult because each individual player changes the way a team can play, you know? So if one team just like switches a player, that the team completely changes regardless like of how they play. But yeah, it makes things a bit difficult, but I mean, there's still a lot of teams out there to scrim regardless of who's in the team and whatnot. But yeah, it's difficult to read how a team plays, and I don't know, they could change either for the better or for the worse, you know. But I don't know, it is what it is, man. It's difficult, but you just got to keep practicing, I guess, you know.
Yeah, listen, I can see you biting your tongue just a little bit, trying to be respectful to all your teammates. But you've filled in for a few rosters now. What's the play style difference when you played with the Chief boys and you played the Divine Mind boys? What's it like in the comms between the two?
Oh, man, that's a good question as well. I feel like Chiefs are really like calm and collected. They know what they want to play for because they've had 3 core players, you know, regardless if they switched up with the 4th with Prades, with Slayers or whatnot, but they all work for the same objective. Whereas Divine Mind, obviously they've been switching. They're trying to find the right core 4 players, you know, and that's always difficult with the limited amount of players in this region. But yeah, man. I mean, regardless, like it's tournament day, and like comms are always like hype, and we just want to win. So there's a bit of stress, but you know, we use that stress to our advantage and just keep ourselves hyped up, especially on comp day. Like you can't skip a beat. You just got to go off.
Yeah, exactly. You know, something we talked about here on the desk, right? You know, every single time it's tournament day, you have to perform no matter what. You guys are going to be going up against Direwolves now, who did just get a 2-1 over the Deathruptor fans. Obviously, you guys are probably feeling pretty confident being a consistent top 2 team in ANZ. But how's it like now going into the Elimination Series up against the Direwolves? You guys confident?
Yeah, extremely confident, man. I know, like, obviously we don't want to underestimate anyone in this competition. Everyone's quite, except for Chiefs, maybe they're really dominant right now. But Direwolves, we're not gonna underestimate them. But I'm sure we'll take the win, 3-0.
Hell yeah, I'm super excited to see that, Flex. Thanks for the wonderful interview, mate, as well. And good luck for the rest of the tournament, buddy.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for the production. Cheers, boys.
See you, Flex.
Well done, man.
It's like one of the best interviews we've had so far here.
He's
I think
just
that's
such a lovely guy.
I know. He has the best answers. He gave us a lot out of the kind of ins and outs of a lot of these teams as well. And he was so eloquent in the way that he speaks as well. And I think, man, like it's absolutely nutty. Also, he gave us a gun show as well, so that's always super exciting to see when the lads be able to bring out the 2 big bad boys on either side of their arms. So I'm excited to see what this Divine Mind squad can do, whether or not this is going to be the core 4 that's going to be going forward into the Super, or whether or not we might see some more changes, lads. That's a few questions that we need to have some answers to. But, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for us to go to a break once again here. We're going to jump all the way back into the winners bracket. This time around, we're going to see the Chiefs and the Demons go head-to-head in a full best of 5, so make sure you guys don't miss it.